Hey guys, how you doing? This is Coffee Chug, and we're going to take a look at our next project as part of our code club, and that is going to be making our own very own rock, paper, scissors game. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make one that is provided in the code club, and then from there you're going to remix it, create your own version so you gain a better understanding of how the code works. And so the very first step we got to do is to create the player's turn in the rock, paper, scissors. And so what we've put up here, I'm using Trinket, and I've made sure that Trinket understands I'm using Python 3. And I typed in here already this from random import random integer. And we're going to come back to this later, but this is just a command that we can import the library that allows us to generate random numbers or integers into our code. So you're just going to type that in. We'll come back to it in just a little bit. But based on our activities from previous projects, we're going to create a variable here called player. And player is going to equal the input of the user. And so we are going to put in rock, that is put in the parentheses for R for rock, paper, or scissors with the question mark. And so this is what is going to be asked to the user. Are you going to be a rock, paper, scissor? And the person is going to type in R, P, or S. And then, as of right now, we're going to print that out. So it's going to print whatever the person has chosen, followed by the verses. And so when we go to run this first part here, this is what we should see. Rock, paper, or scissors, question mark. So if I type in that I want to be scissors and I hit enter, it's going to say S verses. And that is just to let us know that the player option is working. Once you have that, then it's time to jump into how do we create the computer to get the computer's turn. So this is a rock, paper, scissors game against the computer. And so we're going to go back here and we're going to test some code here. So we're going to type in, just for now, let's see if we can get that random integer thing to work. We're going to go and type in chosen, as the project has shared with us. Chosen is going to be equal to the random integer, and then we're going to make it between 1 and 3, just like that. And just to make sure that this works, oh, you can see it's highlighted in yellow because I spelled it wrong. There we go. Random. I still have it spelled wrong. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and print that just to make sure that it works. Print chosen. So now we have another variable. We have the variable chosen now, and it's going to choose a random integer, 1, 2, or 3, and then it's going to print out. So let's go ahead and run this now. So I'm going to hit S, and then there it is. There is the random integer right there. I could run this again. I'm going to hit scissors, hit pick 3. We can run again. Okay, you can see that it's always going to print there in that option. So now we want to go and see what will happen if we get different integers. So let's go ahead and jump down into that here in our next line of code. All right, so now that we have that, what we want to do next is we got to figure out what are we going to do if certain numbers are chosen. So if it's 1, 2, or 3. And so what's going to happen here, we're going to type in an if command. And we've done this before, and if not, you're going to learn something new. So we're going to put if chosen is equal to, and when we write this code, we got to have 2 equal signs here. All right, and we're going to put a 1, and we got to finish this by putting a colon. A lot of times we overlook that, and this is where the little details are really, really important. So if chosen, if our variable here is equal to 1, what do we want to have happen? Now this is creating a section of code that we've got to have inside of it. This is going to create kind of like its own little block of code. And so we're going to have to indent. And you can see in Trinket it automatically does. If it doesn't, the coding etiquette, so to speak, is 4 indents every time we want to do some indentation here. So now I'm going to put here that computer is going to be equal to R. Okay? So we've got that equal to R. So if this random integer here is equal to 1, the computer is going to be the rock. All right? And so now we can check this code here. Let's see if we run it. And let's see what happens here. We got to wait till we get a 1 here. Okay, there's the 1. And you can see that nothing happened because we haven't told it to do anything, right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and finish out this code. So we're going to go through here. I'm going to come back over here. All right. And now we're going to do else if chosen is equal to 2, we want it computer to equal paper. So now this will check if chosen is not equal to 1, then it's going to bounce down to here and see what happens. Okay? And then if it didn't choose 1 or 2, then we know that it must have chosen the other option. And so we can just write in here the else. Okay, else, then computer is going to equal scissors. Just like that. Okay? So now that we got that in there, we want to go through and we want to get some commands here going. We want to make it interactive. We want to see something over here. Now all we're doing is we've just created some code here, but nothing's going to show up for the user on this side. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to delete this chosen because we don't want that number to randomly appear. That's not going to help us. It's going to confuse the user. So we're going to delete that out. All right. Or if you wanted to, you could just put a hashtag and treat it like a comment. That way you have it for maybe future reference if you want. And so now as we go through and run that, we're going to need something else here. And so now we want to go through and we're going to add some commands here. Okay? So if we run this, you can see if I hit scissors, okay, all it's going to do is just print that. Nothing is going to show up. All right? So we've got to go through and add a few extra lines of code to get this going. All right? So now we got to get this all figured out here. So let's go ahead and dive into this here. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add in here a print. So if the computer picks the rock, we're going to print, and we're just going to use the O there as a symbol. This is where you can get creative if you wanted to with your ASCII art. So there is going to be my rock. All right, my paper. Let's go through here. We're going to type in print. And we're going to choose. We'll just keep it simple, just like that, like a flat piece of paper. And if it's scissors, we're going to go ahead and print. Just for now, we'll do the greater than and the figure 8 for the holders. And now when we run this, let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see there, scissors versus paper, I would have won. But I don't like that that line is down below. So we can fix that by going up here to this line of code right here, this versus. And after the versus, we can put a comma right there, and we can put the end equals. And that just tells the Python end with a space instead of a new line. So now when I run this, we should, oh, I forgot my quotes because we want to add whatever is in there. There we go. All right, so if I hit scissors, space, scissors versus paper, boom, there it is. So I'm going to add a space right there. We run this again. We should have a nice little space. Scissors versus paper. Okay. There we go. Scissors versus scissors. So now our next step is to figure out how in the world do we get it to print if it's a draw? How do we keep track if it says you win or you lose? And so we're going to use this concept here again, this if and else if player combination again. But we're going to have a bunch of these. So we got to get down here and we're going to create some new lines of code. Okay? And here's what it's going to look at. Okay? If our player is equal to computer. So if I type in scissor and the computer gets an S, all right, because this is the variable that it's remembering, all right, what do we want to have happen? We have a draw. So we're going to print draw just like that. Okay, but what if it's not a draw? So now we're going to go here and we're going to go else if player is equal to the R and computer is equal to S colon. We're going to print player wins. Okay, so if player has rock, computer has scissors, player wins. Okay, so we've got a glitch here. You see that? What are we missing? We're missing our colon, everybody. So we run that. All right, let's see what happens. I'm going to run rock just so we can see what happens. Obviously, we don't have that. This is just for rock and scissor. So let's just keep running. There it is. Rock versus scissor. Player wins. Right there. You can see that command right there. So let's go ahead and finish this out just so you know that it works. So now our next one is else if. So player is equal. Okay. And I'm actually, you know what? I'm just going to copy this here to make life easier. If player equals R and computer is equal to paper, the computer wins, right? So now I've got these two commands here. And now we got to do the same thing. Okay, so what if I choose paper instead of rock? So I'm going to switch this down from R to P. Okay, now if I pick paper and if the computer picks rock, player wins. If I pick paper and computer picks scissors, computer wins. And then our final thing of code here, we got rock, we got paper. Now I got to go through if I pick scissors. Okay, so here I am. If scissors and I pick paper, I win, and scissors and rock, I lose. And then we can just put in here, just if none of this happens, we can just print there we go. And so now when we go to run this code, if I pick paper, let's see what happens here. Boom. Paper versus paper. Draw. We can run it again. Scissors. Scissors versus rock. Computer wins. So that is the basic. That is what we get going. And so your challenge now, once you get this up and running, is to go back and create your own remix. Create something besides rock, paper, scissors. Come up with your 3 own visuals. See if you can come up with some better ASCII art than just these simple ones here. Be creative. And as a bonus challenge, can you write it in a way that it actually would keep score of how many times the player wins, how many times the computer wins? Let's see if you can figure that out. I love to see your feedback, comments, thoughts, and concerns. I got the links on the website in the show notes so you can see this code as well as the tutorial on the Code Club. All right, guys, figure this out, share your work, ask your questions, stay awesome, and until next time, I look forward to seeing and playing your own rock, paper, scissors remix. Share it with me. I'd love to check it out.